Yes, not long to go. Has Simon gone? Is Simon still here?
I've asked this many a time.
Let's get on with it.
Right. So we've had a workshop on this, and people have their views on the mayoral proposal, and people have some other suggestions. I'm going to take it that basically the mayoral proposal has been put up there, and we're not going, I really don't want to, but if you're going to insist on political speeches, I don't think it's really necessary at this time of the day. I suggest you're very tight about your exceptions.
I'll
and
move.
If
Or
you
second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Take them separately
Yep.
then?
And if you're dead serious about wanting to change or put an alternative, please move an alternative and find a seconder, and then we can have some brief debate. But the bottom line is, I'm being blunt here, if you haven't gone around and got the numbers for your amendments by now, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get them tonight.
I've got an amendment, Mr. Chair.
So we have a mover and a seconder. So right, we're going to just,
No.
we're going to, well, we can take it, the exceptions being an amendment straight away. So Councillor Simpson.
Yes, I've got an amendment. I just can't see it yet, but it's there somewhere, hasn't it?
I hope you've got the numbers.
I'm hoping the mayor's going to second
It's
mine.
got your number.
Oh, so does that mean you can't have an opinion unless you've got numbers?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
It's
heard.
not democratic.
It's B5 for those people trying to find my amendment. No, that's not.
No, that's not it. Yep.
I know.
There it is.
Councillor Clow doesn't support that. Can we rec-
Your worship, if you'd be so happy to second my
Yep,
amendment.
I'll second that amendment.
Seeking other revenue streams to minimise the impact for ratepayers.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion?
And
Sorry.
does that, sorry, just so
The
we're quite
revenue
correct,
streams.
in the
Oh,
letters of
second.
expectation, we described revenue streams as being the wording, didn't we, David?
Oh, it's, yeah.
Okay.
What was there
Talking
was...
about asset
Okay.
The movers
sales,
are-
councillor.
Just want to
Tolling all
tie it
arcade
up,
roads.
okay? B5. Okay, somehow it's jumped out
Better do
somewhere.
that. Tam, pop it back.
It wasn't incorporated
Okay, well,
Are we on questions?
the
or what are we
suggestion is to
doing?
put it into B5. All I'm asking you, David, is revenue streams is the wording we're using in the letters of expectation, isn't it?
Yeah, we could make sure there's consistency in the messaging here.
It was
Thank you.
revenue streams,
Yep.
other revenue
Yep.
streams.
To minimise the impact for ratepayers. That's
Yep.
key words.
Yep.
It doesn't need to be an amendment though. It could be incorporated into the.
Thank you.
Yep.
It can be included into the,
Yep,
So to
I'm,
incorporate-
I'm, the
You
mover,
moving?
is the mover happy to incorporate that?
Yeah.
And I'm happy as seconder.
well done,
Thank you.
Well, done.
Well, look, you have to, in fairness, I kind of have to ask, Councillor Simpson may want to have this in an amendment, and it's her seconder may as well, which we should, if you want to do that,
I think we're both just happy to have it up there, aren't we?
Yeah, having
Yeah.
said that though, what I'm trying to say is it's my idea, so I'd like to have a bit of credit.
Okay.
Just to be open and honest.
Yeah.
I'm not even moving this.
okay, we're going to pull that out as an amendment, and we're going to park that to one side and have that as an amendment when we get to it. Are there any other amendments to the mayoral proposal that anyone has?
oh my gosh.
Could I ask a
Yes.
question on the
Put it on the
amendment?
It's the light in the room.
Okay, so Councillor Cooper, you
Just a
to speak?
question on the amendment, because
Yep.
I had said I'd second it,
Okay,
but
could
I've got to
we
see it's
guys-
by the mayor. Just, does that incorporate using the findings of the EY and Cameron reports? Is that your intention, councillor Simpson?
Anything that leads to minimising ratepayer.
So even asset sales, good.
I can speak, I think, partly for her because we had discussed this ourselves.
Gave it to her, that's what she-
As this is going into the next financial year, meaning starting July, I mean, we will have actually started to discuss the EY and Cameron report
Again,
before that, and then incorporating it into the LTP, whatever we may incorporate out of that, those recommendations. So it'd be fair enough to say it certainly does include those.
thank you.
Councillor Lee.
Are we not talking here about a euphemism for strategic asset sales?
I'm certainly not talking about that.
Can we be clear about that then? Because it's euphemistic and open-ended, and it means a number of things to a number of people. So can we be clear that it does not, if we're dealing with the public, that we be absolutely explicit about what we're talking about and not be criticising for trying to finesse people?
Yep. Councillor Simpson.
Sorry?
Okay, Councillor Lee, can you just repeat that so the mover can respond?
I'm happy to move an addendum to the amendment saying not including the sale of strategic asset, or this does not include the sale of strategic assets.
Yep.
Excluding the sale.
I was never thinking of that in the
No.
first place.
Okay,
So that
so
should be incorporated.
An income,
Okay.
you don't.
can we just wait a minute, just pull the bus back a bit. So Councillor Lee, if we were to sell any strategic asset, that has to go through public consultation anyway, which would
Yeah,
be,
but those proper
LTP.
consultation processes have been very truncated as of late and can be done very, very quickly. So I think we need, if we're talking about public consultation, we need to spell out what we mean. The Mayor has a clear idea about what he means. It may not be what other people mean. You yourself alluded to the EY report, which is talking about selling strategic assets, isn't it?
So I'm just going to get Sue to respond.
Thank you, Mr Chair. If I can just clarify one or two points. There is a very prescribed process for public consultation on the Local Government Act, and that includes audit material by Audit New Zealand. With respect to the EY and Cameron partner reports, they are, if I can take councillors back to those, and for the benefit of those councillors who were not here in the last term, those reports were requested by this committee as part of the last LTP. They highlight options for consideration. They did not make any recommendations or any decisions, and for the record, neither did staff make any recommendation on that. It was merely for the committee to make some to have that discussion and decide the way forward that they wish to go. And hence, Mr Chair, that is why you have asked that those reports be brought back to a further workshop of this committee early in the new year, particularly for the benefit of those councillors who were not part of the committee in the previous term.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
just a suggestion that Matthew raised, which I think would help just clarify it, is if we could put the word operating in front of revenue, then that will just make it clear.
Just going to actually ask.
With Councillor Simpson's permission.
Yep, totally. Oh, sorry, I was just about to ask Sue about operating as compared to selling a one-off asset, which is a one-off injection. So, you happy, mover and seconder, to put operating revenue streams?
Yep.
Yes, that's
Okay.
Yep, that's good.
Good. Okay. Right. Well, we have one other amendment here, which is going up on the screen. While it's just going up on the screen, is there anyone else who's signalling an amendment that they wish to make to the Merrill proposal? Because remember, this is, to a degree, business as usual for this 1 year, because the big task is next year, the LTP. So that there's no question. That is our big chance. We're really just trying to do business as usual. Councillor Sayers.
It might be a bit of a foreshadowing for Thursday, I think, but when we've workshopped this item and you've talked to us about those of us who were looking for a 2% average rate increase, and then you explained to us, well, if you took both the business and the residential,
Business differential.
Yep.
it would average out at that, 2%. I just want to signal that wasn't my understanding when I took a pledge to keep it at 2%. Mine was to incorporate both of those in there, and I do believe that's still possible to achieve a 2% average rate increase by making further cost savings.
Okay, well, I'll just clarify again what I did say, but it's a good point that Councillor says there's, on Thursday you can make further amendments, let's be quite clear, so between now and Thursday, if there's something that you have, or with a seconder, and have what you believe to be a majority that's going to support it, you can certainly propose amendments on Thursday, so let us be quite clear on that.
Mr Mayor, I've just promoted
Jeez,
you. I just
that's
promoted
tiger.
you, Ross. Just for clarification, Mr Chairman.
So this is a recommendation to the governing
This
body.
is a recommendation of the governing body, so on Thursday you can move further amendments, so no question about that. So just to clarify what I referred to with Councillor Sayers, for those who did sign up for a 2% pledge, certainly the one I saw, which was the taxpayers one, made no reference to a stalling of the differential at all. It just said a 2% rate rise. So there was no reference. The assumption was that the sliding of the business differential would have continued under that pledge that people signed. Okay. So what that would have meant was that if you'd come in here and voted on that pledge as the wording was, it would have been a 1.1 business rate increase and a 2.5 for residents. It's be quite clear. So what we're saying here, what the Mayor has put up with his proposal is a flat 2.5, and we're achieving the flat 2.5 by virtue of parking up the differential progression for 1 year. And that means it's 2.5 for business and 2.5 for residents. So that is where I was explaining for those of you who may want to wiggle off the hook, that you could vote for this in all good conscience, and that you are delivering what you said you were going to deliver for residents, which
And that
was
includes the
2.5.
possibility of a living wage, doesn't it?
Yes, it's in here, yes.
Point of order, Mr Chairman.
Yes.
Twice you've talked about getting the numbers for an amendment. I have never lobbied for an amendment for as long as I've been a councillor. You win it on the debate on the day, and I'm just saying if somebody chooses to use Thursday to raise the UAGC, I will be foreshadowing an amendment to reduce it.
Yep.
And I'll be seeking the numbers on the day with the weight of my argument.
Numbers can be won over by argument. I've seen it happen many a time.
Yeah,
So it's not a matter about their lobbying so much as it can be won over by sound argument and good logic.
What other means?
I'll meet you outside. We have another amendment up here moved by Councillor Watson and seconded by Councillor Wayne Walker, and you can read what it is there. So that is the second amendment which we can pass or not pass, and so I'd like John to speak to this.
Yes, and I'll be very brief, Mr Chair. This is an amendment that hopefully responds to a degree of community concern and concern with the local boards. In the last annual plan round, we had quite a number of local boards coming in asking essentially for this. The amendment itself scales back, an across the board conversion to chemical free. It concentrates very much just around public parks and reserves in urbanised areas, and includes a possibility of a targeted rate to fund any additional costs incurred as a consequence. What it also does, incidentally, is bring us into line with our own policy, our weed management policy, which has 8 objectives, most of which are to do with minimising agricultural chemical use and concern for public health and safety. So I think it's a fairly mild version of what has been proposed in the past. It also follows on from the last meeting of the Strategy and Policy Committee, where there was a unanimous vote of councillors present expressing their concerns over the continued use of glyphosate. I've taken the liberty to go through the local board costings that was provided at the term of the last annual plan as to how much this would cost in terms of the changes made after the long-term plan, and by my reckoning anyway, and I just concentrated on the big local boards that had no chemical-free subsidies from the local boards, this would amount to somewhere between about $350 and $470 a year in terms of an additional cost, given the number of ratepayer units in each local board area. So it's a very modest.
Per board, John?
Pardon?
Per board?
Per board. Yeah. So I took the biggest boards, the boards that had the biggest costs for meeting this expectation. So I would hope that people would at least allow this to go out to consultation and to hear back from our community. We've heard fairly consistently for them over the last 3 years, and they've been a fairly strong voice for that. This goes to children's playgrounds, to parks where people have picnics, where people play sport, and the rest of it. It's confined to urbanised areas, and the cost is minimal. and can be covered by a targeted rate if people so wish to pay their $4.50 or $5 a year.